and a very happy Diwali to all our viewers, and welcome to this special program. As we celebrate the Festival of Lights, we're talking about the Festival of Cinema as well. Bollywood, as it's widely called, has had a tough year so far. Some hits, but quite a few misses. And while Diwali is not traditionally necessarily big for Bollywood, there are two big releases this time round. Thank God and Ram Setu. Today we're going to be looking at whether the new year, as it's called after Diwali, is going to be prosperous and bright for the Hindi film industry as well. Are things looking up after the relative success of Brahmastra, or is there still a lot of competition coming in from pan-Indian movies? You know, it's also food for thought that a recent survey actually mentioned that nearly 70% of Indians were going less and less to the theatre. So that's another reality that the Indian film industry has to contend with. So a whole host of issues to speak with, and joining us on this today is a very special panel. I'm joined by Dalip Tahil. He's of course a well-known actor. Abu Malik, Indian singer and music composer. Bhavna Ramana, actor and activist, joining us today on the show, as is Komal Nahata, film trade analyst. Welcome to all of you and wish you a very, very happy Diwali. Thank you for joining us on this joyous and festive occasion. Tahil ji, let me start by asking you how you see things panning out for the industry on Diwali, and do you think that these two big hits or these two big movies will turn out to be hits? Is there now a sort of a trend of trying to release big movies on Diwali?
पहले तो आप सबको दीपावली की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं. मैं दलीप ताहिल हूँ. I want to come to the point of people coming to the theaters. You know, the crucial aspect of people not going to the theaters is the cost of going to the theaters, the economics of it. Everyone I speak to says that, sir, हमारे पास हम चार हैं परिवार में, अगर हम पिक्चर देखने जाते हैं तो 2,500 रुपए का खर्चा होता है. Most of the Indians, most of the people who go to the cinema, we're all salaried employees. The salaried employees, they just do not have the capacity to pay for this. True. And the proof to that is, as soon as the tickets were on cinema day, the tickets were brought to a cap of 75 rupees. The halls, by all accounts, was absolutely full. That is one aspect. The cost of running the theaters and the products that are sold in the theaters have got to be looked at from the state government and the central government to be able to give subsidies. We have to build more theaters. Do you know that for 10 lakh people in India, there are only 7,000 theaters? In China, there are 40,000 theaters. And in America, of course, it's even worth that. It's about 130 theaters. The point is that the cinema going experience for the Indian public has always been a family affair. We must be able to encourage people to come back to the theaters by making it affordable for the average Indian to go with his family and make it a family event and an affordable event. I think that is the crucial aspect as to why people are not going to the theaters. I'm not saying that you don't have to make good films. Sure, there are good films and bad films, but that has been happening from time immemorial. Whenever there have been movies, there have been some movies that work and some movies that don't work. But that, I feel, is the issue that needs to be addressed. And the Secretary for the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting made a wonderful announcement. He said in the next 7 to 8 years, the industry of entertainment and media is set to go to $100 billion, which is going to be a huge contribution to the ambitious $10 trillion economy. And I think that has to be addressed to get people back into the theaters.
Yes. You know, the question is that, is it just affordability and price points, or does it also depend on whether the content is compelling enough? And let me get Komal Nahata here. We talked about the two big releases that are going to take place on Diwali. What is your hope for them? And is this actually a season or a time when people go to the cinema halls? Or is the hope that the long weekend and the dates of those holidays will give people sort of a window to go out with their family and watch these two big movies?
No, no. Traditionally, by tradition, we have observed that collections shoot up, not just pick up, they shoot up during Diwali. And the same is hoped for during this year. And I agree with your point that it's not just pricing, it has a lot to do with content. And if the content is not compelling enough, is not good enough, even if the ticket rates are slashed down, nobody's going to go to the cinemas. When we had the National Cinema Day, the only film which actually did wonders at the box office because of the low ticket prices was Brahmastra. The two new releases, Chup, and there was one more, I'm forgetting the title, they really didn't record too many footfalls in spite of the ticket rate being 75 because the content was not compelling. So I think it has a lot to do with content.
So it's a content issue. It's also an issue of, is there a superhero or, different kind of a craze for content? Abu Malik, do you want to weigh in on this sort of debate? Is it content? Is it pricing? What is the problem not bringing people into the cinema halls? And is this really going to look like a happy new year for the industry?
Happy Diwali to all the viewers. I would say we wish you all the best in the coming years. And I'd like to first say that whatever Dalip ji has said is exactly the point that I wanted to make regarding the pricing of the ticket. That is one. But there's another point that we should also consider is that after after COVID and whatever happened and people stopped going to the cinemas because they were scared of going inside and being in so many people sitting in one place watching movies, all this has actually added to the fright that don't go. That was the beginning. It has now tapered down and people are actually going into cinemas or they are quite a little, but the audience is little less. But there's another point that we must address also, Komalji also should notice, that why is the cost of the actors and artists so very high that they have gone to hundreds and hundreds and fifties of crores when the making cost is hardly anything, especially the Indian belt. You forget the movies like RRR, which are made on beautiful budgets, and they are beautiful movies that are made out there, and which is getting the people to the theater. Here, the cost of the artist is so very high, and the cost of the making the movie could be just a simple family drama, etc. And why is that price so high? So those prices have to be tapered down. The cost of so that when the cinema gets the movies, they have to cover a little lesser amount so that the audience will also get a lesser price ticket. All these things have to add on to this. Besides the content, the content that the Hindi portion...
As an actor, do you think that actors should start charging less? And that,
of course, 100%.
That 100%. Is the part of the problem.
A film like a family drama should not have a hero that is costing 100 crores. It could be costing 20 crores.
I mean, they would argue I'm the big star bringing the footfalls in. People are coming to see my movie. Bhavna ji.
Yes. Yes. Happy Diwali to everybody, and thank you so much for inviting me for this discussion too. Thank you so much. When it comes to the Bollywood alone and the rest of, especially the South Indian cinema industry, the case has been like that, such. In fact, when Mr. Rajinikanth had acted in Hindi cinemas here and Mr. Kamal Hassan ji acted in Hindi cinemas, they did mention because they're making cost, not on the screen making cost, but off the screen making cost is really, really high, as Sir was mentioning earlier. And of course, actors' charges are very, very high than compared to their market. So they will always keep their charges constantly the same, irrespective of their movie is doing well or the movies have not done well, and then what is the box office hit or whatever the gross income that they are gaining out of the movie. That has always been the scenario with the Hindi film actors. I cannot deny that fact at all. But when it comes to South India has always been that it is a director's film. The director is actually the one who will call the shot. If he sees that one has to come at 6 o'clock at the set, everybody will be there present. So irrespective of however a bigger star somebody is, they will always make sure there's some kind of a decorum and a discipline is maintained. And when it comes to making and the director. That is one. And the second is they're very, very cautious about the market. If the market is kind of showing their downfall in any manner, they'll make sure very good with the producers and the financiers, and they always, in many instances, Mr. Rajinikanth, and now I think Mr. Dhanush also has written their money back once the movies were flopped. I think a couple of Kannada film actors also did that.
Some of the big,
it is kind of to see that
some of the
yes,
big stars in Hindi film cinema have also reportedly done that. Komalji, if I'm not mistaken, you know, after Lal Singh Chadda, etc., Amir Khan did return all the money, didn't he?
It is said
recent.
that he returned part of it, but they returned to their distributors rather than the stars returning to the producers. So the stars, if they are the producers, they return the money, part of the loss incurred by the distributor. But one has not heard of a star saying that because I charge so much and since the film has not done too well, take part of my remuneration back. No, that hasn't happened in Bollywood.
Okay. Bhavnaji, do you think that's a fair ask?
that has happened mostly in South India.
Do you think that's fair? That's fair to demand?
I think when it's about the industry, it's not about fair or anything. It's about sustainability of the industry. I have been in Kannada industry when Kannada industry was actually not seeing any money, though they were making good movies then too. And then it is slowly, very slowly, we are seeing this progressive thing, especially when it comes to the revenue. So I have seen how we never would ask for any such facilities or luxuries on the set. Though yes, many people will do that, but still there are all the artists, many actors, they wouldn't want to be a burden on the producer. I think that is very important than charging less. It's one's prerogative though, but to keep it in mind, what is their market prices? It is very, very important. And then it is good to be a producer. And we come from a land of Dr. Rajkumar, and who called every producer a Annadata. In fact, there are instances that even me, I have gone through all that, where only idlis are served, not even a vadas are served, because there'll be such constrained, budgeted movies happens here. Happen here.
I
so
hope
it's
in
about
the new
how
year,
it's
there
about
are
an
idlis,
attitude of the
vadas,
whole industry people.
and loads of mithai for all industry.
I mean,
let the platter be full. But Dalipji, I want you to come in. I want you to come in on this this debate.
Tamanna ji, one small thing.
Yes, please, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, whether it's Bollywood or South Indian or anything, India is a land of cinema, and we should not forget that, where each and everyone have joyed and they have always enjoyed going together to the theatre. I think that culture should not be fading away. That's all I feel.
Okay.
As an
I wanted
actor,
to get Dalipji's view on this. Some actors may argue that why should I be held responsible for my remuneration, whether the movie works or not? Because the success depends on screenplay, it depends on direction, it depends on sets. Unless you have creative control of all of that, do you think it's fair to pin this on the actor?
Well, I mean, I see a lot of discussion, which is really, it depends on the contract. If the actor is involved in the production and is on a profit-sharing basis, then obviously they will have to take the responsibility for the success or failure of the film. Also, the rest is demand and supply. I mean, I don't know any producer who's going to pay an actor more than the actor's going to bring back. Cost of production has gone up. It's gone up everywhere. You see, the point is that in the media, all you hear about is what actors are charging. I mean, there are cinematographers who charge a lot. The cost of production. Look at the cost of location. Look at the cost of food. Look at the cost of permissions. I mean, the cost of production has really gone up. True. So I do think, though it's happy, it's a Diwali day, but I do think that it's a little unfair to blame the people who you can target, that's the actors. Yeah, there are situations where actors may misuse, like sometimes producers misuse. So, I mean, that is an ongoing situation, but I don't think that is the reason why people are not going to the theaters. Yes, I agree that good movies should be made. I agree that budgets should be controlled, and everybody tries to control it. But it's not the big picture. You have to understand that a star today, in times like this, when you have a star cast, it also brings in the audience. My point is that the audience is not coming to the theatre because they can't afford it. It's a simple thing. And everybody knows that after a certain point of time, this movie is going to come on OTT.
Exactly.
You know, the cost for a salaried family to go to a theatre today is exorbitant.
Yeah.
They don't have 2,500 rupees on a salary to go to any film. It has to be addressed because it's a huge market and it's growing by leaps and bounds, and the government and all the agencies have got to come together.
Quick responses. Abu Malik wants to respond. Bhavna ji wants to respond.
Some sort of
Dilip ji
incentives.
hit the head there or there that they can't afford it. Now, why they can't afford it? Because, as you said, overall cost is so high. How does the overall cost?
But Abu Malik ji, Komal Nata said a short while ago that on the day when ticket prices were low, people went to just one movie. On the day the ticket prices were low, people went for just one movie. So content also matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's talk about content. They are making and charging people so much money on the Hindi belt. But tell me one movie which has got great content from this side. Everybody, I met a few people right now out there. I said, what do you do in the evening? But we all watch South movies. Like me, I'd like to watch The Great Indian Kitchen. There's a new movie that has just released in the Hindi belt, and it's done phenomenal business. Again, it's a South movie.
Kantara. Are you talking about Kantara?
Yeah, I'm talking Kantara.
It cost 8 crores to make. Yes. Cost 1 minute. Cost 8 crores to make. Has already raked in 100 crores plus. Yeah,
why? Why is that so? It's because of the content. The content is not there. The star prices are 100 crores, 150 crores. For what? A cinematographer who has got all technical knowledge available. These are all technical fine cameras. Any idiot could stand behind the camera lens and shoot a movie, because that can be done. And they are charging lakhs and lakhs and maybe crores as cinematographers. Why? Why are we paying them so much? Why can't we reduce the movie level cost so that the cinemas can get the rates down and the coverage can happen in 1 week or 10 days or 5 days? Why not? Why a movie made out of 8 crores can do such a phenomenal business, and a movie worth 600 crores just collects 300 crores, that also after such a great fight to make the money out there? No, because the content is not there. So you're right in saying that we have to work very hard on the Indian belt and the Hindi side belt to make the content very good. There are some beautiful movies that have been made at beautiful and covered a lot of money. Like I saw a couple of movies which I loved, and they were at very low budgets, you know. Badai Ho, and there were such other content which young people are making, young filmmakers. They should be given a chance to work with superstars and get the movies out. People will come into the theaters.
Bhavna ji wanted to come in on this point. Yes, Bhavna ji.
One thing is, people cannot afford. Yes, there are certain scenarios that people cannot afford, but when they really want to come to the movies, they want to come and watch certain movies, they will always make sure that they will come to the theaters. One. And two, it's about Hindi film industry. I have lived in Mumbai for 10 years. I have acted also in a Bollywood cinema. I think what they have kept them now behind it is, it's very difficult because the lifestyle has been such. They are into the 5-star lifestyle, you know. That is something which is really probably holding them back and is not making them really flexible to get into anything and then to become something really flexible about the whole scenario. It is very difficult for them because they have come up from that kind of a mindset. So it is a 5-star culture. And when it comes to Kantara and Mr. Rishabh Shetty, he is very intelligently made a content which is of his own native. So he exactly understands his own nativity, and he had all the facilities which, to be shot there in the same place itself. So it is kind of very intelligently kind of woven, revenue-wise, economy-wise, so as a story and everything. And you also don't want to take too much of a risk looking at his own market. He really did work on his market. He exactly knew the size of his market. He went little ahead, though it is a Humbale production which made KGF. Despite that, he did not go to make a movie which is of 60 crores or 100 crores or 70 crores. Rather, he understood his own market limitation, and then he really stood to that. I think that's what made him successful today.
Yeah.
So it's very important to know one's market size.
Komal, I think, you know, are we missing the elephant in the room? That people have gotten used to the convenience of watching content on their own devices or in their homes or on the go. And that whole effort, yes, the price factor may be there, but also the whole effort to get out and go to a movie hall and take out that time, perhaps sit in traffic, is not looking like it's worth as much. You know, this is something which has hit the United States long time ago. Dalip ji at the start was talking about how many cinema halls they have. Many of them are being converted for other uses.
Definitely, that is right. People now don't find it worth their time, worth their while to visit a cinema unless the reports are very good. And, you know, adding to the previous discussion, it's very unfortunate. Everybody is thinking of his or her film. Nobody is thinking of the entire industry together. So when someone's film flops, there's brooding, there's discussion that why it has gone wrong, and the industry has constantly been in denial mode. Nobody wants to admit that, the stars don't want to admit that it is because our prices are so high that the cost of production increases to such a level and therefore it falls like a pack of cards. Content writers don't want to admit that they are giving substandard content and therefore it is not working. When they are in denial mode, imagine if any other industry were to be passing through such a bad phase, all heads would have gotten together and discussed and said, let's take corrective measures. I don't think a single meeting of the industry people has been held, although everybody is crying that times are bad and films are flopping and there's something wrong. They'll say individually content is wrong. They'll say star prices are high. They'll say admission rates are very high. But do they do anything after that? Nothing. Because, as I said right in the beginning, people are bothered about their films. They don't care two hoots for the industry which has made them. The industry is still lawaris. Everybody is bothered about his film, his stardom, his money, his income. Nobody is thinking of the entire industry. And therefore, we have reached a stage where it is not just disturbing, it is alarming.
We know what the problems are. Are we saying, or are we hoping that there will be some lessons learned? If content is truly king, if you can't afford to maybe overprice yourself with the stars, etc., if OTT is a real threat, are those lessons being taken on board and being learned? Let's take a look at that aspect. Abu Malik, yes, I see your hand going up. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we are going through a very changing times as far as cinema is concerned. We have to accept that the OTT platform will be a very big competition for cinemas, but to a certain level only. The cinemas will come back in a very big way. Content will also come back. It's a lesson they have learned. People are actors and the filmmakers are realizing that they require to do a lot of art thinking to get their movies made within budgets. I'm sure prices of actors will be lowered, cinema tickets prices will be lowered, and everybody will take an active part in getting those things done. Okay. And once those things are in place, I'm sure the cinemas will be houseful and movies will be made which have great content, and Hindi movies will survive because Hindi cinema has always been the ruling part of our cinema culture all over the world. So Hindi cinema will be on the top very soon.
Naji is not happy about that ruling part. We don't want to get into another controversy there. Komal Nahata.
Can I say something, please?
I'll come to you, sir. Just a minute. Komal Nahata, is the
Can
outlook?
I say something?
Is the outlook looking better for you, or more lessons to be learned?
Definitely, as I said, there is a lot of fear. So individually, I'm sure producers, writers, directors, stars have learned their lesson. But, you know, reducing star prices, it's a very textbookish discussion we are having. You are an anchor at Mumbai Mirror. Suddenly one day, your bosses were to tell you, you have got a salary cut of 50%. Will you accept? Who accepts salary cuts? Whoever has accepted
Komalji,
that.
what a terrible thing to say on Diwali.
Now during
This is awful. Please, say nice things for us at least. We are not stars.
Your Diwali day is in big trouble.
No mumegi shakal.
What I want to say is, nobody accepts salary cuts. Okay. We will have to improve the content. We will have to make better cinema, and we will have to make our films.
But the broader point is, you know, at least in the corporate world, it's very clear that customers pay salaries. Customers
Yes.
pay salaries, and in the industry, audiences pay salaries. So that link has to be understood very, very clearly. Yes, Mr. Tahil.
Yes, so I would like to say I completely agree with Mr. Komal Natha. All these mediums will coexist because in India, we have the privilege and the good fortune of having a really large movie and OTT watching and television watching audience. Content has always been king. It has become the mantra today to say content. There's always been content in the film industry, all the film industries and all the language industries, and content will always be the most respected and it will always work. So that is an underlying thing. The point of the matter is that for now, with the coming of OTT, it is very important for the film industry to survive is that these incentives are given by the state and central government to encourage movie theaters to be made, to bring prices down. It has to be a concerted effort and be treated as an industry. And all the other aspects are very important. And on this very, very joyous day of Diwali, I have a lot of hope, and I am certain that the film industry will do even better than it's doing today.
All right, let's hope there is more entertaining content. People will always criticize. I think at least if they're interested in watching, that's a big start. I'm surprised no one's talked about, freedom from boycott trends. But let me add in my 2 bits here, because I'm sure that's what's on everyone's agenda. We hope that there's freedom from boycott trends and there is no self-censorship that comes in to creating great stories to entertain people. Let's hope for that as we wish all of you on the panel and all of our viewers here a very, very happy Diwali.